Hello guys, I'm actually cleaning up here in my office. So I'm just trying to it's coming along. I still have some a ways to go. So where I am going to do sort of go into someone made a comment about my some of my comments I think I made in some of my videos about why for a while after my relationship ended with my ex-fiance why excuse me after my relationship ended with my ex-fiance why I couldn't really like my interactions with black men were really awkward, not necessarily just in a dating realm, but just everything. And I'll some of my very first memories of black men were of them either violent or breaking the hearts of the women they were with. And I grew up in an all black neighborhood, so it was normally black women. And like I said before, I try to avoid all men, um, just in general. I just didn't want to get, I just felt like, all of them sort of want one thing. I can do, like, I had certain goals. One was to just get out the situation. I didn't want to continue, I wanted to break the cycle. Two, when I ended up getting into the science and tech school, the STEM school, I really sort of focused on trying to be a straight A student or A's and B's, and what was my next steps. Was I going to go into the military? Now I'll be honest with you, it was due like my friendships and my relationship with my son's father. I felt like I was able to just focus on what do I wanted to do, and I wanted to be a lawyer. I still have that in my heart. And what was one of the impacts of that, I used to see my mom go back and forth to child support with my father. So it was a big period of my life when I was young. My father was in my life, and then for a brief period, and I don't have positive memories. And then around when I turned 10, he came back and said he wanted a relationship with me, so I would see him like on the weekends, or on Fridays or Saturdays. We would go get something to eat or go do something. And during that period, my brother came to be, or my mom got pregnant with my brother, and he poof vanished again. But I would see my mom throughout that period in my youth just go back and forth to child support with him. And it was just such a demoralizing, it was just horrible. And I saw how they treated my mom and other women. And I know there's some women and some people that just game the system and they just use kids as pawns. They really don't care. I see, especially that I'm paying attention to the news, it seems like a lot more women are just indiscriminately having kids. Um, and I know people will say, well, why don't you blame the guys? Well, a lot of times it's like they are wanting something from the guy and they don't care if they are using protection or not. And they don't care if a kid comes out of that. And so it's just a cycle. It's just a mentality. So essentially, I would always see men in some way, in a shape or form, exploit women. They would just use them, abuse them, and discard them. So I grew up in a black neighborhood. So what men do you think I saw? Black men. Again, like I said, I was resistant to all men. I was part of the resistance of all men. I met my son's father, and I definitely had an issue when I was younger because you hear things about white people, not just in like the history books, but things that you would hear things about white people that were just like kind of scary. You like don't trust them, they're sneaky, and that they low key racist. I don't know. I need people to understand, like, I didn't really get into like geopolitics or racial politics or racial issues. And even now, and I'll do a thoughts on like intercultural dating. Like, I don't get into that now either because I think at the crux of it, people are just human. Do I think there are certain experiences that are either shared or either passed down generationally in certain cultures or subcultures in America and maybe just, across humanity, definitely. I really do. And I kind of sort of see data. It's this raw data that I'll present or show you what I found. And then, I mean, I guess you can use data to support anything, but sometimes truth is just truth. So I kind of just try to steer clear. So when my son's father and I broke up, I seemed to have attract a lot of non-Black men. It could have been just I was a researcher at the time. It could have been just the circles that I was in. That just I would be around people that were sort of in academia or they were researchers themselves, and so that I don't know, maybe like I don't know, but I was just around maybe a lot more people like non-Black people, non-Black men, and they were interested in me, but they didn't believe in God. They either were Muslim or agnostic, atheist, or Jewish. And it was this one guy who I probably could have fell in love with. He happened to be white. That wasn't why. He's just amazing. He's amazing with my son. We used to go to like Harper's Ferries. I used to hang out with him as friends. We used to play tennis after work. Like, we just had such a good time. We tried different restaurants in Northern Virginia because that's where he lived. We would go salsa dancing. Just really cool friends. No sexual activity, didn't sleep together or anything like that, because he was what they consider, I think, a new atheist. He like is angry, like has hatred, like he wants to burn all the churches down type of person. But other than that, he just had a heart of gold. So in my mind, I can say I keep finding these great men, but they don't share the same belief system, and whatever their race. So was more prone when I started online dating. I was like, well, I've heard stories. I've been on the periphery with my friends and their situations. Let me see, and let me just see what's out there. So like I said, I don't care. It doesn't matter. As long as even 10 years ago, I was kind of like, it doesn't really matter. As long as we have the same belief systems, you kind of look at the world the same, I'm good. And so, of course, I will go into that in detail, guys, about what happened with my ex-fiance. But that was just like, to me, it's malicious. Hence, getting into, after that relationship, I was in a daze. Like, I don't know what, I just didn't get it. And maybe now that I think about it, it's just the way I see now. It's just the way it is. Some people are the way they are, and there's all these disorders and stuff like that, cluster B personality disorders and things, and bipolarism. But I didn't get. I was like, he seems so like Afro conscious and like Black power, Black community. We have to do this. That just the deliberate, malicious, and just no care. Like, it was like, towards the end of the relationship, I was like, I think you hate Black women. I really do. I think you secretly want to dismantle them, destroy them, disassemble them, like dismember them, like figuratively and possibly literally. I just didn't, it was just such an atrocious experience. And it was intentional. And even like I told you, the point when I thought I had met another gentleman where my ex-fiance and I we'd broken up for a period. And I was just like, hey, here's your key back. If you want to do the closure, because I thought that's what you did to people. You're kind to them, even if things end. And he only got back with me either jealousy or just nastiness. How dare she find someone else? And that's on me for not understanding, like, you need to set boundaries, you don't need closure type of thing. It was just like intentional. And when I went through his phone, if anyone's followed all my other videos, my ex-fiance, it was like women who poured out their heart. Even the one he admitted to cheating with me before, when we went to that nice dinner. She has had such a horrible experience. She had poured out her soul, and he just turned around. He didn't care. He did the same thing to her. So why did I have a hard time? Because I am a researcher by nature. I still like going to the library, or if anyone been to the Library of Congress, like I love like old school. I know we have online now and data at our fingertips, but I like actually going to get the reference, look at their references and doing research. And I'm kind of like the old school way of things. I kind of like the old school way of things, but it's all good. Technology is good. So I started doing research about relationships. I was just so curious, like about Black women, because most of the Black women I know that are in my circle are unmarried. Most of them are parents or parents or mostly single parents. I don't know anyone, and this is like across the class. I'm from like sort of the low class. From the low class, even the middle or working class and upper class or upper middle upper class. Most of them are not married. It could be the people I know, but they're amazing women. A lot of them are like degreed up. Some of them are part of like Atlanta society and high society, but they're single and unmarried. And some of the class, like if you're from a higher class, I notice my friends, they don't have kids, but they're single and unmarried. They want to be married and with children, but definitely married. And a lot of my other friends that are from sort of the working class or low class or poor class, they're just single parents, And so I just would see that, but I started doing research. I'm like, is that something to it? Maybe that's just my area and people just worry about school or worrying about, I don't know. But I started to do research and I would see that Black women are we're the least likely to get married. We're the least likely to date outside of our race or our culture. So even when I talk to young girls now and I try to encourage them, hey, if you just are sold on your Black Kang, that's fine, but can you explore across the diaspora? And they look at me like, I want my Kang. They look at me like they don't know what I'm saying. I'm like, can you at least there's like 54 African countries, including Madagascar, Malta. Can we not, go South American, Black, there are Afro Latinos, anything. And they just are so sold on a Black American male. And I started to tell them that, hey, based on statistics, this is years ago, it doesn't seem like they marry, and when they do, it's at a later age. And they're not necessarily marrying Black women. Which again, I don't get in that, but it's just like if you're so sold on this Black man and he has all these other categories that he's in. You have, LGBTQ, just wants to be a lifetime bachelor, the penal system in and out of prison or jail, education. If you rule out certain diseases, like it starts to dwindle that population down. It's that they're just stubborn. And so I started to also see, and I think it's even higher now, but a few years ago, and that's why I was like freaked out that Black women, at least in 2015, 2016, they were like the newest cases of HIV/AIDS. And it wasn't through like intravenous or through drug use or anything like that. It was through like sexual sex intercourse. And again, if they're the least likely to date outside their race, who are they dating? And so I just started to say, wow, why are we, okay, maybe this is just me being biased again and doing that. And I don't have the stats, but I just started getting kind of crazy. And I didn't save them, but just reading article after article of like Black violence, Black men dismembering, Black domestic violence, dismembering women. Even my mom went to go get a phone a few years ago in Clinton, Maryland at the T-Mobile. The Black husband, he was estranged from his wife. He like doused her with gasoline and set her on fire. Just like it just started. And then again, it could be sometimes, I don't know if you all are familiar with the new car phenomenon. I don't know if you all are familiar with the new car phenomenon. It's like when you buy a car, a new car to you. There's nothing new, but it's new to you. You start to see that car everywhere you go. So I'm trying to like put that in. So and I even try to say like, am I being biased by my experience? But I didn't go through my experience like that with my son's father. All white men are just going to be atheists and good men, but atheists. No, I've met a lot of non-black men, a lot of white men who are Christians, who are devout Christians, devout Catholics. Like, so I know that. And I met, black men that are what I would consider defined as a good man. I can't say I met a lot, and that goes back to even the men at my job that, again, kind of when I brought the other, like, why I don't date black men, why, how it came to be, so maybe I should put a question mark on that, because that's really what it was. Even how they talk about marriage is completely different than their white counterparts, so their non-black counterparts. They talk down about it. They don't really talk about their spouse. They don't wear their rings. It's just like a very, even this one guy, he's like, if me and my wife divorce, I'll never get married again. It was just like very negative. And I don't normally hear that from non-black men. And I just started to say, is there something in our culture? Like, going back to my childhood, my first memories was of violence against women. And my uncle, who I love dearly, but he would just be very violent towards my mom and just towards everyone, but definitely my mom, just very violent. So I was just like, what is up with this? And I do think there's something, if you start studying a lot of the personality disorders or the mental disorders, I do think it's something that's cultural. I think it's something, I think the crack epidemic had an issue. I think the AIDS epidemic, the 3 strikes rules in a lot of states. I just think poor education, no education. I think what I call smoke and mirror Christianity, where you're just like faking a funk and you're not really adhering to the principles, are an issue. And I started to question a lot of things, because I would see in the church, even though I clung to the church, I would see majority women, children, old people. So I'm like, how all these successful black women in the church, but then they're mostly the single moms. Like, I just started having a lot of questions after I broke up with my my ex-fiance. But the way that I started to see black men look at me, it was like they were, again, could have been me over exaggerating, but it's like leering. It's like, I'm gonna try to find a gap. I'm trying to use what you say, and I'm gonna find a way in. And once I get in, all I do is I want to use you, abuse you, and discard you. And that's kind of the vibe I would get. Even the ones, at work that seem nice, they're still like it's not necessarily sexual, but it's, I'm going to get past your guard. And once I get in, I'm going to have my way. And then I'm going to be like, and I'm going to just tear your world apart, not in a good way. So again, I got through that because I started praying. My son is black, my family's black, so I started to get over that. But it was for a while. I couldn't look black men in the eye. I really didn't. I look kind of downcast look. I really associated, and especially if you were from the South and you had that sort of accent and that Southern charm, that was like, oh my goodness. I did not like that at all, because I really don't believe that's authentic. It's only a few people that I met. Most of them really sort of have the use, abuse, discard. But the research of the mental illness, the abuse, the emotional abuse from black men to black women is staggering. And I'll try to leave some recent research, but it just scared me. It was just like, what is going on? And I think the numbers are even higher. I'm not sure. I hope they have changed. I haven't really checked, but I think they're even higher about just sort of almost it's some sort of abuse or some sort of disdain, I think, that the black man has for the black woman. And you start to listen to these lyrics, and my son made no. He said, "Mom, what song are you saying? You need to listen to that." Just some of the words and how they refer to us is just so disgusting. And it's sad to hear these young brothers talking about black women that way. I mean, they're talking about their mothers, but if their mothers don't know any better, it's just, I don't know. So that's kind of, I don't have that feeling anymore. I say that this job that I'm at recently a lot of the black men, not that they've restored, but we've had some conversations, and they were just like, they have to admit, you're right. A lot of us, we're immature and selfish and narcissistic, and we hurt women, and we don't really understand that hurt until we're much older and we're at a different place. But by that time, we've already hurt, women, and it's just the cycle continues. So I think them being real with the situation and not trying to fight, and I'm not fitting to go back with nobody about data in real life. Just like I'm not going to say that they're not women who game the system, who poke holes in condoms, or I'm not going to lie to anyone and say there's not women who will sell their body for anything and sell their kids. But I'm just saying at this point, the numbers are just staggering as far as for Black women, and it just really scared me for a bit. Because it's like we're not dating anyone else. We're staying within. We're not even dating within the diaspora. We're just staying within Black American, that pool. So I hope this clears something up for anyone. I know people tend to get really sensitive about if you say Black man or Black woman. I'm hoping you all see already this channel. We want dialogue. We do not want people to. We want people to listen to one another and experiences. I'm not going to dismiss someone else's experience. I'm not going to cast aspersions for the whole entire race or gender or anything. But I want to hear people's experience. That's just maybe because I'm in the DMV, and maybe that's, I'm in Chocolate City, and I don't know. So the demand is high. And so if the demand is high, they don't really have to adhere to any standard. That could be it. Maybe it's also the ratio from Black women to Black men are are disproportionate to the fact that women are willing to, like Scissor say, they're willing to have that weekend, be that weekend person. We're willing to share. So there's a lot more factors. I'm just telling you my experience, and even my experience now as an adult. So I will leave you guys with this, and I'll go more into it during my speed dating chronicles. I've done speed dating, guys, any type of speed dating. So I was on this speed dating kick, like, you know what? Online is, coffee meets bagel, plenty of fish, Tinder. I was on there for 2 days. Couldn't do it, guys. Couldn't hold Tinder down. Match, eHarmony, okay, Cupid, what have you. So I'm like, let me just do speed dating. So I was like on this whole speed date. I'm gonna meet people in person, even though it's still manufactured, it's still in person, but it's online. Go down to this event. And I see this guy. I saw him at another speed dating event. Black guy. I'm just saying that. I want to go into more detail. And I was like, well, maybe this is fate. We saw each other twice, and who knows? He's like, I want to take you out. That's a whole other story. But I thought it was interesting. So the second event that I saw him at, and we were talking again, because we didn't really get to get in depth at the first speed dating. It was like 5 minutes. This one was a little longer. It was like 11 minutes. And that's really long if anyone knows about speed dating. So we were just talking about things, and he was saying how, I was like, man, you have your stuff together. So I just started as an IT project manager at this company. He he's either a software developer or system administrator, like, kind of in the same field. 45, has his own house in Northern Virginia. And if anyone familiar with that, that's doing really good. I think he had his own townhouse. So clearly professional, making good money, 45. So at the time I was 30, I was either 36 or 37. So we're sitting there talking. How you get to know people. Again, why did I accept a date? Because I'm like, it's just a date, just go. But he started talking about, I was like, well, I definitely want to get married. Are you interested in marriage? And he was just like, man, if you met me a few years ago, I couldn't even talk about marriage. I was out in these streets. And it's like little things throughout that 11 minutes. Now that I reflect on it, he was telling me about his character. And I was like, well, okay, that was a few years ago. Where are you now? He's like, I don't know. I'm just trying to, can we get to the date? Like, he's very deflecting. I have noticed that with a lot of black men. They want to come right to your house. They want to get physical real quick. And that could be all men. But this has been my experience with black men. But when you start talking about like your belief systems and like concrete things, they like shut down. They're like, I gotta go. Like, it's 5 o'clock. I gotta go. So, anywho's, I just thought I'd let you guys know. Hopefully that clears some things up. And if that sparks more questions, please leave them in a comment or just send me a message and, we'll figure it out. Again, this channel is not to be pro and against anyone or to demonize anyone. It's just we're talking about our experiences, and we want to have a full, fulfilling life. And if it means that we're single or coupled or married, then okay. Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you for watching this video. Please like, share, and subscribe.